Let's get into Dave Richards' quarterback tiers right now on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is your Monday episode of FFT in 5. Please follow us and stream us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And let's get into these QB tiers here. Dave, is Patrick Mahomes in his own tier?
I can't do it. I think that Mahomes will be the first quarterback off the board in fantasy drafts. You'd have to be drafting with someone really out there for them to take Josh Allen first, Lamar Jackson first, what have you. I think it just makes sense that Mahomes will be the first guy gone. But I think he'll be followed fairly closely by another quarterback. And then once that second quarterback goes, and I think it should be Josh Allen, you'll see 3 more quarterbacks go within the next round to a round and a half. There are 5 quarterbacks that I think have potential to finish as the QB1 this year. All 5 of those quarterbacks are in their own tier.
So there's 5 quarterbacks in tier 1?
5 quarterbacks in tier 1 for me.
Okay, and they are?
Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and guess the 5th?
Dak Prescott.
No, it's Mitchell Trubisky. Yes, of course, it's Dak Prescott.
Where's Russell Wilson? How come he never makes it into this tier?
You know, he should be close to it, and he is close to it. He's in the second tier along with 4 other quarterbacks who I think have a chance to finish as high as top 5 in fantasy, but they're just not quite brimming with the same type of potential. Russ is in there. For me, he's behind Justin Herbert. Herbert's at the top. Russell Wilson second. Aaron Rodgers is after him, and I've got Jalen Hurts after Rodgers.
Okay, no Tom Brady. All right,
next tier. Okay. Literally the next name in the next tier.
All right, go for it. What's the third tier?
Normally, I like to have 12 quarterbacks separate, and that's it. But this year, because there are so many quarterbacks I think I'm very comfortable with having as a starting option, plus 1 other quarterback who would be a starting option if we knew for sure that he would be an actual starter if he weren't facing a suspension or being on a commissioner's list, that's what's making up the rest of this third tier. It's Brady, Tannehill, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, and Deshaun Watson. Those 5 names. So I've got 14 quarterbacks that, and really it's more like 13 because we just don't know with Deshaun. He's up in the air. 13 quarterbacks in Deshaun that have that potential to be excellent for fantasy this year.
So, you know, what is the separation in your mind between the really mobile quarterbacks, Allen and Murray? You have Wilson, obviously, in a tier below that, Lamar Jackson, and a guy like Tom Brady who ran for 6 yards last year, I believe. Seriously.
I mean, you know what the difference is. All those points that you get for rushing by a quarterback, it's hard to compete with that unless you're a quarterback that's got potential to throw for well over 4,500 yards and get near 40 touchdowns. I don't know if that should be the prerequisite. But if everybody stays healthy, it's going to be hard for Brady, who won't rush and won't dive for more than a couple of touchdowns, to match what a good year, but not necessarily an amazing year would be from a lot of the other quarterbacks that we've talked about so far, or that we've named. We haven't really talked about them.
So who's after that 14 and what is your 4th tier? You know, what you said, those top 14 quarterbacks, including Deshaun Watson, you're okay with as your starter. The guys after that, what are they? Deshaun
could actually be in this tier after, if that would make you feel better about life. This is the high upside group of quarterbacks. These are the quarterbacks that I'm willing to draft and wait a little bit. These are the quarterbacks, we talk about this on the main pod, that I'm willing to be patient with. Now, I've got to really want to carry these quarterbacks. I've really got to believe in these quarterbacks in order to take them as my second quarterback. I'm not necessarily looking for this in every single draft, but it's Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Ryan. They've got the upside. You put them on your bench, and you kind of see what happens with them. In the case of Trey Lance only, you've just got to wait to get him to start. Will it happen week 1? Will it happen later? Obviously, you don't want to dedicate a spot to a quarterback that might not play for the first half of the season. We have to kind of see how he looks in the preseason to know whether or not he's got a chance to start right away. But for now, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that it won't take him long to get on the field, either because of Garoppolo not playing well or because of Garoppolo playing hurt, both of which have happened in the past. So I'm willing to stash Trey Lance on my bench.
Interesting that you think Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins have that kind of upside. Look forward to exploring that with you tomorrow, or really later today on Fantasy Football Today, the Monday edition, quarterback tiers, then running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. We'll hear it all on FFT and on FFT in 5. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.